All right, guys, we got something raw and straight from the internet for you today. I was going through Reddit, and I'm not always on Reddit, but I saw this and I thought, okay, this is perfect. And I saw a little bit of me and myself, me in this Reddit. So here we go. Seeking advice. This is from a man. I think we are moving too fast. Me, I'm a 42-year-old male, and she's a 39-year-old female, and we met online. We are both dumped from our 15 plus year spouses in sexless marriages. So both coming out of the dead bedroom. Me 4 months ago, and her 2 weeks ago. So we went on a jogging date and ended up at my place. We had a lovely conversation and we were really vibing and resonating. She is totally my type. I am concerned that I have caught the feels. We are both messaging each other throughout the day and doing video chat. We are both chomping at the bit, but I know we need to slow down. We haven't even had sex yet. Is this a parade of red flags? I think if I cool my jets and pace myself, I'll have better luck and less likely to scare her off and hurt myself. I'm full of lust and future tripping. Maybe I need to meditate more. What are some steps to keep this from being a ball of fire? TLDR, looking for a rebound, but it's getting serious fast. Okay, welcome to the Nice Guy Show. I'm your host, Ari Graff. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Faisal Kokar and Chuck Chapman. So Faisal, what's really happening here in the nervous system of these two lonely people? Right after, like literally right after marriages ended.
So he's asked, is this a parade of red flag? This is a red flag carnival. That's what's going on. Yeah. Forget this is a red. This is
a red flag festival.
Wow, what's going on here? I can resonate with some of that. I can see myself in doing that. So they just come out of a relationship, and you're already
not just a relationship, but long
marriages. Marriage, yeah, sexless, yeah. So they come out of sexless, 15-year sexless marriage. And he was 4 months ago, and she is just 2 weeks ago. I mean, wow, have they got a trampoline or what? Because it definitely is a rebound. So what's happening in the nervous system? I coach guys who sometimes are in this situation. And what I'm noticing is there's a lot of anxious attachment, like fast attachment. So this is like two people driving on the motor highway, as you guys call it, full speed throttle, and this is going to go nowhere but collision. And he's already future pacing this, and this is love bombing. This is because they're texting all the time, doing video chats all the time. What could they be exchanging other than, oh my God, this is amazing, this feels so good? So they're stuck in the fields, and I bet they're,
or she was so horrible, he was so horrible, or
So they have, so this sounds like fast fusion entanglement, which is a carnival of red flags.
That sounds like a roller coaster, like an actual ride. Fast fusion entanglement.
Game joke. Fast fusion. Yeah.
Video game. Yeah. What about you, Chuck? I can totally relate to what he's going through. I mean, similar kind of situation. And I think the thing is that when you're starving for food and someone puts a hamburger in front of you, it's going to taste amazing, And I think that, if you've got two people that have been in long-term sexless relationships and all this, that haven't been getting their needs met, and all of a sudden here's somebody who is providing all of the things that you weren't nourished on for, 15, 20 years or whatever. It's a really difficult to pace yourself when you're starving, And so I feel for him. And I think the logic, his logical brain is kicking in and going, I know this is wrong, but there's this part of me that like, I just can't help it. I'm just like shoving the hamburger in my mouth just as fast as I can. And and really, I think it's like, when you first get into a relationship, and here's the thing about is like when you're in your 20s and you're dating and you get into a relationship, and the beginning of the relationship, it's like this most wonderful thing, and it's just this big flood of dopamine and oxytocin in your brain, and you have this cloud nine feeling. This person is like you've seen people like this, you've been this in yourself, where it just feels like they cannot actually see each other. I mean, you just sort of see this, there's this high that's going on.
It's
And we all know
infatuation.
it's the infatuation, puppy love kind of thing, right? And then you get married, and then you go 20 years, 15, 20 years of not feeling that. And then all of a sudden you feel it again, and it is that same kind of like elation that you had when you first, when you're in your 20s. So I mean, I totally get where this guy is coming from. And it's really, really hard to put on the brakes when your brain is flooded with dopamine and oxytocin for the first time in a long time. And it feels really, really good, but you're not actually in love with the person. You're just feeling all the great neurochemicals.
Just
So
love
the red
in
flag
love with the
is,
feelings, right?
yeah, you're in love with it. The red flag is that it's an addictive type of response as opposed to like an actual love response. So yeah, been
Is
there,
this
done
you
that.
then?
Have the
Is this
t-shirt.
you, Ari? Was this you writing on there?
It
It's a
wasn't, but
friend.
right. It might as well be, because this is almost what happened to me. Yeah, coming out of a marriage with a dead bedroom, feeling really frustrated and kind of humiliated, and then jump on Tinder after 1 month of being separated, and finding a woman who wanted to, you know, fuck my brains out 24/7. It was a recipe for disaster. Um,
Hold on. Then
and,
what happened?
well, we fused, like we jumped into kind of relationship mode right away. And I mean, she's not a bad person, but it was just way too much too quickly. And I understandably started feeling overwhelmed right away. Um, and it was like a kind of a band-aid for the hurt that I was feeling, you know? And so, yeah, it was just like a real kind of like chemistry experiment in my brain. You're just feeling like the biggest hurt of your life, while also feeling this high. Um, so it's a mess. And I think that this is not uncommon. And doesn't have to be like, this can be a valuable learning experience if you learn from it. I mean, I'm hoping that this guy, because he's asking the question, will learn from it. But he also seems like he's really sucked in. No
I
pun
don't think.
intended.
Uh, yeah, but I don't think you'll learn straight away. I mean,
You
for
learn
me,
by doing.
Yeah.
well, you will. But what I notice is that here's a pattern I've noticed, and see if this rings familiar for you guys as well. So you just come out of a relationship and you do some self development. You're like, oh, this is amazing. And then you get into a relationship. You go, holy fuck, I thought I knew, but I hadn't learned it. And then you get into a relationship, you fuse, you entangle, you go and repeat exactly the same kind of process, but this time it doesn't take 15 years. Then you come back out, and then you do some more work, and then you're going, oh, okay, feel a bit more better. I can do this. And then you go back in it, and you're going, shit, I'm making the same mistakes again. And then what I noticed is I made the mistakes a few times with like slight improvements. But then it got to a point where actually, when I did get into the next, like fourth or fifth relationship after the breakups or something like that, then it was like a significant difference. So the first few relationships or first few reps were pretty much identical, and then after a little while, and I've seen that with my clients as well. Because they think, oh, I'm never going to make those mistakes again. I'm never going to be treated like this again. I'm never going to settle. It's that cognitive kind of like development, but their embodiment development, or what they actually practically do, is still a red flag carnival.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only way you're going to get stronger is if you go to the gym, or you have some kind of workout, and this is how you do it. Is you have to practice being in relationship, and practice it consciously, or you could just have a second, third, or fourth spouse, and that's not really learning. So
He's
it's a
also he also said he's worried about losing her as well. So he goes, I'm full lust and future of him. Maybe I need to meditate. But what is this? Yeah, that it can turn her off. So he's obviously conscious of that as well. And she's totally my type.
What type is
Oh,
that?
she's totally my type. It's like, how do you know she's totally your type? As in what? So when somebody is like, this is totally my type, they're talking quite from a superficial point of view, right? It's quite egotistical. It's like, well, you probably don't even know more about the highlight of her afterwards. And he says, I
right.
think
Well,
I need to cool my. Go on.
I think, yeah, in this early infatuation stage, you don't fully know their character. I think maybe that's part of what you're getting at, and ascertaining someone's character is going to take time and experience with them, and stress testing them. You know,
Yeah,
it- go,
he's not
go
auditing it.
No, I mean, so it's really it's kind of interesting. Like when people say this person's my type, it's usually I think some fairly superficial things.
Yeah,
Um,
of course. You've only had a few months to work on this, or a few weeks, so they've only been together for a few weeks, right? So
But it's basic human behavior. We don't like to feel bad. We want to feel good, and the way that we feel good is, I love this guy's dating strategy, actually. Like they went on a jogging date. Like that's an amazing strategy because not only are you getting the dopamine and the oxytocin, you're also getting the endorphins. Like you're getting the triple
yes.
threat of brain chemistry there. So that's going to bond you really quickly when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, this is like super glue of
Super glue.
entanglement, right? This is like
So if you
super
can
glue
learn
of
anything
entanglement.
from this guy, let's learn that first date of jogging date is probably a really good way to do a first date. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that again, it's all just these are all neurochemicals. They're both feeling all of these really great feelings that they haven't felt for a really long time. And they're great feelings, but they're also just feelings and they're going to go away. And if you're hooked on the feeling, and then once the feeling goes away, then you're not actually working on a relationship. You're working on trying to get that, it's the same thing. It's the chasing the dragon. It's the same thing, right? Where you get that first hit and it's like the most amazing feeling. And then you spend the rest of the addiction trying to get that feeling back. But
right. It's a rush. It's not real intimacy. I think
right,
that's one of the
right.
issues.
It's a high. Yeah, it's not reality, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, you know? And I kind of like, I think that I don't know if it's necessary that everybody goes through it, but at the same time, like this guy's going to learn a lot, you know, and
Always
maybe he needs to go through it
the bet that he
so he can
does.
learn
This
these
is the
things.
bet. Yeah, this is gonna be the best um, teacher for him. This is something I put. So there's a book called It's about abandonment by Susan Anderson. And I learned this years ago, 2017. I posted this, and she put the science behind it. Right, I'm not going to read out all the names, but because they're quite medical one. But she said some being with someone who's challenging stimulates a lot of adrenaline, norepinephrine, which is combined with your opioids, and these and other hormones can cause someone to feel infatuated. So this infatuation is like a cocaine-like emotional high that intensifies your sexual feelings uh, with and medicates the rigorous intimacy. So when you're really caught up into these chemicals, right, she calls it that when people have high abandonment issues, they are more likely to go into these cycles of like engulfment, abandonment. It's like it's going to be like quick, fast fusion. Because this is amazing, this feels good, I don't want this feeling to ever end, and I just want to do anything I can to capture it. And I'm going to be texting all the time, I'm going to be on the phone all the time, so no matter what happens, is this feels so amazing. And then what they'll experience is this: once they've had sex, once that's all gone through and it's died down, it's like, okay, I feel suffocated. And then they're going to push each other away because it's too much, and then we realize we need some space. And then when they have pushing each other away, someone might move a little bit too far, and then that might start triggering off. Oh, am I losing that person? The person's cold. Person's not sending me messages every 4 minutes. And then they're going to have this massive gaping hole of abandonment. And then she says that then they cling on and want to bring that back. And it's that constant cycling of, engulfment, abandonment, engulfment, which is the kind of the same cycle that goes on with people's finances, people's weights, people's moods. So it's constantly pendulum swing they're in.
And the other thing that's happening in a situation like this is the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's responsible for logic and emotional regulation, that part of your brain shuts down. And you're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking in a, logic. You're thinking emotionally. You're not thinking logically. And we've all been there. We've all seen it happen. And it's part of the reason why I think, you've got to be really careful about when you get into a situation like this, whatever, whatever amount of prefrontal cortex that you have that's still online, like listen to that, because it's really easy to just, it's an insanity. It is an insanity, right? It feels really good.
All right. So let me ask you guys a question. So, there's two questions here. Is there a proper way to date, or a more mature way to date at this stage post breakup? Should people who are, just exiting their marriage even be dating? What's your opinion?
My opinion is, and this is just based on experience alone, is that, it's a really difficult thing. Should or shouldn't, right? It would be probably a benefit to take some time off, but I think that that's also really difficult to do, because you're not just dealing with your logic, you're dealing with biology. And so we're not necessarily making wise decisions. We're making decisions that are based on biology and feeling and instinct and all of that. And so I don't know that you can say it's good, right or wrong. I think you have to say, like, it's understandable. Like, what they're doing right now is totally understandable. In a perfect world, yeah, if you could avoid all that, you probably would avoid some hurt. But to your point, Ari, I think the second piece of it is that you the way I kind of it's like it's the difference between like chocolate cake and a really good meal. The chocolate cake is like amazing, yeah, chocolate cake. And a good meal is sustainable, but it doesn't necessarily produce that same high as the chocolate cake. But I think and so oftentimes I think what happens is the difference between healthy and unhealthy. So unhealthy is generally this feeling of compulsion and like, I want the chocolate cake, where healthy is more measured. It's more like purposeful. So I think when you get into a more mature, healthy relationship, it's the same thing. It's measured. Um, it's conscious, you know, and so it doesn't feel like chocolate cake. It feels more like,
I
you know,
want both. Yeah, I want a dirty doner kebab and a chocolate cake. All right, that's what
yeah,
he's going for.
right, right. But I guess
Chuck
like,
just wants a salad.
I
We
just
should all
want to,
just be
yeah,
happy
just,
with a salad, right, Chuck?
Yeah, but you've had
well,
all the chocolate
May
cakes and all
maybe a
that stuff
chicken breast
first.
on top, but
yeah.
that's
Again, it just goes back to healthy. What do you
Sausage.
want? Do you want to feel good, or do you want to feel high? You know, and one leads you to sustainability, and the other one is not sustainable. It's not what it's like, what's the more mature thing?
so.
Love,
What do
I
you?
think, in my experience, love grows deeper and deeper and deeper year after year. And I think one of the advantages, like in my marriage, I've talked about this before. When I met my wife, she was amazing. She ticked all these boxes, but there was part of me that was like, where's the high? Where's the like, you know? And I started to realize like, oh, this is actually what a healthy relationship feels like, you know?
Mm.
And I think that because we entered into a relationship on a more healthy field, the relationship has grown year after year. Whereas relationships in the past that start out with this chocolate cake kind of metaphor I'm using is that they burn out really quickly and they're not sustainable over a long period of time. So it kind of goes back to like, what it is that you want, you know? If you want to be fat and lazy, eat a bunch of chocolate cake. And if you want to be healthy, have a chicken salad and work out. But it just comes down to like, what is it that you want in life?
Yeah, going to your question, Ari, which was, is it proper or is it wrong? Again, like Chuck was saying, it's not proper or wrong. It's like, what's the result that you're looking for? So right now, he probably doesn't have a goal, probably doesn't have an idea. And coming out of a long-term relationship, probably the thing he wants to feel is feel. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
feel confident. He wants to feel like he's
Yeah.
wanted, he's desired. He's probably felt a lot of neglect most of his life,
He's
criticized,
starving.
complained, and yeah, so he's absolutely starving. So um, this is probably more like a knee jerk reaction that you'll have coming out of a relationship. It's like, oh my, I have freedom. I can go and get my needs met and have sex, and you can imagine the excitement. But if you were to look at its effectiveness for creating, maybe if he wants to have fun, this is probably still not the strategy, because he'll entangle really quickly, and then it'll be really difficult because a lot of nice guys, they struggle with some of the E's, I call it. And one of the E's is that entering a relationship, they usually end up entering a relationship with women that need fixing help. And probably this is what's going to be going on here as well. She's come out only 2 weeks, so he's going to, I can fix this woman. I can help this woman. And poor you, you had a really bad relationship. I'm going to be different. And the second E that the guys struggle with is exiting. Is this going to be a time? When can I timely exit? So he's going to be already fused. So what's the best effective strategy? It's like, what are you looking for? If you're looking for, say, long sustainable kind of strategy, it would be, I recommend the guys take time, learn about himself, understand it, do some men's work, do some therapy work, do some coaching, whatever you need to understand what the old patterns that you had. So then you can work on, adjusting those patterns, healing those fractures, as I call them, and working on that. So then you can rather than having instant gratification from this, that you can actually build something that will serve you and not be costly mistakes, repeat costly mistakes. What about you, Ari? What would you
I
recommend?
like costly mistakes, so
Or like a whole chocolate, and then the next
yeah,
day, yeah,
Yeah.
sugar it
That's
up.
my hobby, costly mistakes,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I think it's I liked how you put it. Like right now, I think you guys put it this way. Like he wants to feel certain things. He wants to feel desired. He wants to feel confident, nurtured, respected. But he doesn't necessarily have like a vision for a new relationship. And that's just going to take some time. But I mean, my thought is if you have some room in your life to date, even though you're in this separation phase, if you know that your marriage can't be reconciled, or maybe even if there's a possibility of that, but if it's clear you're headed towards divorce and you have some mental energy for dating, um, and you want to still do it consciously, I think you could still be aware of your limitations as a dater, even during the separation phase. And so that there's still a conscious way to date, even if you're not divorced yet. So I think it's checking in with yourself about, yeah, what feels right.
Yeah.
Am I, still attending to my responsibilities, like to my kids or to my work, to my health? Then I think you can still date in a conscious way, even at this stage. I think this couple has a ways to go here. So hopefully you guys are listening to the Nice Guy Show.
We'll put a
Man
link in the
42 and
put a
woman
link in the Reddit
39.
thread.
Okay, I'll put a link in the Reddit because we
But he was
we want to save you. We
27.
want.
He was 27 when obviously he got married or been with her for 27. So yeah, he's probably thinking, I've got a lot of time to make up for. Got a lot of party. I mean, that
Oh
was for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've got to make up a lot. I'm gonna have,
I think the
live a
danger
Playboy.
is that you start the future tripping piece that he was talking about, where it's like, oh, what would it be like to be married to this person, and maybe we should move in together, and those kind of things. And there's a joke, how do you know when a nice guy and a nice girl are on their
I like
second
this joke.
date? There's a moving van in front of one of their houses. It's like that. We tend to like go really quickly into a relationship like that because it's like, oh, this is so amazing and wonderful, and it's always going to be this way. So I think it's just like you have to like, and I guess what my advice to this guy would be like, enjoy it for what it is, but just be careful. It's really easy to
Well,
get hurt, and I'm
no, no burn, no learn, right? So this is what they're gonna no burn, no learn. I mean,
I guess so.
this sounded a little bit borderline to me, but
Well, this it's sort of like a borderline phase of life, is to be,
yeah.
just out of just dumped by your spouse of 15 years,
Yeah.
in a sexless marriage. That's just going to be a very emotional time. So I don't think we can expect these two people are at their best right now.
I wonder what the
Nor
running
should they
club
be.
is. I wonder what the running club is, because obviously they've met. Yeah, what is
Where
this?
can I sign up for the running club? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if there's one here in London, because easy picking.
Yeah.
All right. So if you liked this episode, write into us. Let us know what you're struggling with. We'd love to weigh in on it.
They
And
probably
don't
want
forget,
now after all the jokes that we've done for them.
Right.
They're like,
we
no
may
way
tease
am I
you
gonna
a little
spend
bit. We tease ourselves too. Thanks for joining us for the Nice Guy Show. We'll see you on the next one.